So, welcome. This is Dr. Nancy Zare, and this is session 1 of Selling with Style. And I'm excited for you to join us because we're going to be talking about the energizing style. And give me a moment, and I'm going to share my screen and share the information that I have prepared because this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's see, where are we? Don't know where we are. So I'm going to share all my screen. Oh, good. Crystal's here. Glad that you're here. Crystal, I've muted everybody just in case you were wondering. And this is not the PowerPoint I want to show. We are going to do this one. Okay. All right. So again, welcome. Selling with Style. We're going to go over the energizing style. And I want to thank you for taking time to join us today. The reason I'm starting with the energizing style is because this is the fastest decision maker. So we're going to go from fast to slow during these sessions. And I want to let you know that this is a program that's only one in a series that explains the likability system. In fact, earlier when Jean and I were talking just before we started the call, I mentioned that I do programs on social media. We're not going to cover that topic in any depth, but there are many other aspects that I do copy. And if you would like a complete listing, of course, email me or, chat with me, and I'll be happy to share that information. Have something to take notes with because, as you know, I do talk fast. I have you muted right now so that you're going to have to save your questions to the very end. So you may want to jot them down. Of course, you can listen to this recording over and over again, but I do recommend you have paper handy. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to talk about, as I said, the energizing style, or as sometimes people refer to it as RED. We're going to talk about the values of that energizing style, the vocal qualities. We're going to talk about what they wear, their appearance, their behaviors, and of course their occupations. In fact, I'll even give you a little quiz at the end to, if you've been listening carefully, what do you think they do for a living? I have this theory that the biggest mistake salespeople make, in fact, all of us make it as communicators, is that we tend to communicate from only one point of view, one style. And yet there are 4 different styles. The best salespeople outsell the average as much as 57-1 because they have what I think of as the chameleon factor. They're able to shift their style, their communication, according to the environment. So just as the chameleon changes colors, the successful salesperson is able to change their approach. My goal is to help you get unstuck, to help you have that flexibility to expand your repertoire when you communicate with others in a sales situation. And I do it with the likability system. And just a reminder, a likability is a skill that raises the perception in the mind of your prospect that we're alike. It's a skill. Hence, you can learn it, which is why we're doing this program. It's a beginning to help you learn this skill. There are 5 steps in the likability system. Step number 1 is to define those 4 different ways that people communicate and make buying decisions. Step number 2 is to know your style, and that's through the likability assessment. So make sure that you do take that assessment and complete it so that you know exactly what your style is, the exact order and the exact proportion of that order. Step number 3 is where we diagnose the other person's style. And we'll be doing some of that in this program, but there is a lot more to diagnosing than we will go into during the program. So just be aware there are lots of things to learn. And step number 4 is we're going to match our prospect style. When we do that, that's where we develop a likability. That's where they feel comfortable with us, they relax, the sales resistance drops away, trust builds, and now we can do business together. And the last step is to downplay and discard those parts in your style that may rub someone else the wrong way. So let's go over step number 1, defining the styles. We do that through the LENS system. LENS is an acronym that stands for learning, energizing, networking, and stabilizing. And as you know, our focus today will be on the energizing style. Just a sneak preview, next week our focus will be on networking. So energizing style, because they are the fastest decision makers. And I call them kind of status buyers because these people, as somebody said to me the other day in a presentation I was doing, oh, well, they want to keep up with the Joneses. And I said, no, 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 no. They are the Joneses. They are the ones by who others of us try to keep up to them. They are the status seekers. They're the ones who want to be top of the heap. Notice me, here I am, world, etc. Their biggest sensitivity is time. They are very fast, and time, of course, we've heard, is money. So let's go over again some of the values of the energizing style. Number one is freedom. And for the energizing style, this means no bosses, no ceilings, no limits. This is a person who wants to do whatever, whenever, wherever. So they want no restrictions guiding them. They want total freedom. This is a person who values action. They are into action. They are very driven people. They're always on the move. Many of them have a touch or even more, attention deficit. Their minds jump from thing to thing to thing. They actually may even move around constantly. I happened to see somebody yesterday giving a presentation, and the person kept shifting one foot after another, going back, going forward. That person couldn't stand still because that's so typical of the energizing style. Action, action, action. Another value is excitement. This person is an adrenaline junkie. They love that experience, that feeling of adrenaline coursing through their veins, and their hearts are beating fast, and they just love that. And this is a person who's also into competition. But by all means, it's not just to compete, it's to win. Some of the other values I'm going to just mention very quickly. They love to have fun. They're focused on their image. They're very spontaneous, impulsive individuals, and they grab at opportunities. What are they buying? They are not buying insurance. Okay, Jeannie, they're not buying insurance, and Elaine, they are not buying massage and Reiki. What are they buying? They're buying an adventure, and they're buying an experience. So, for example, Fred, when you're taking photographs, it's about the experience. Not only the experience right then and there of being photographed, but the experience that you're creating through the tangible picture. So again, think about that and think how to phrase your particular product and service from that point of view. An adventure and an experience. Now, when they make choices, things are trendy. Trendy means on the cutting edge. They're modern, stylish, etc. And this is a person who wants to be outstanding. So they choose things that stand out from the pack, that are different, that are unusual, unique, one of a kind. They are in a rush. I told you, this is the fastest decision makers. And although I put down 1 to 2 contacts, please, I want you to make note, it's one and done. Meaning, if you don't ask them for the business right there and then, you have missed an opportunity. There's a good chance that that person will absolutely find somebody else or something else, and off they go. So you've got to get that commitment there and then. Okay, so now we're going to diagnose and help you figure out when you're meeting people or talking with people, are they that energizing person? Is that their first or second code? Now notice I'm saying first or second because these things can switch depending upon whether the person's in a work mode or they're in a social mode. And they might initially present in one way, and then when you ask them for a decision, they shift to another. So it's good for you to be able to understand that this might not, it may be the initial way they're presenting, but not necessarily the way they make decisions. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to diagnose. And the first way I'd want to suggest that we look at people is by listening to their vocal qualities. I know some of us actually have our first contact with people on the phone. And if that's the case, then you really want to be able to tune your ears to what you're likely to hear that indicates they're an energizing person. Now, research has shown that the words are not so important as we think. When we are asked to remember what we heard in a conversation, only 7% of what comes across are the actual words that somebody uses. Now, in this case, the words are going to be full of the value words that are important to the style. So think about that in terms of the energizing person. They're going to talk about, being number one, their image, about action, etc. So when you know that they're using those words, pay attention. That is definitely a sign of our energizing person. But it turns out that 85% of what you're hearing is actually their it is that vocal quality, 85%. And so the biggest disconnect comes in terms of how we talk to one another. You've heard the expression fast talker, slow talker. I mean, both of those have kind of a judgmental quality to them. And I promise you that the fast talker and the slow talker, that's a huge clash going on. They do not, quote, like each other. And it's just based upon the speed of conversation. So what are the three qualities that we're going to focus on and that will help you differentiate our 4 different buying styles? Speed is number 1. Second is volume, how loud they speak, and third is inflection. Inflection is using the scale and going up and down. It's drawing out words as well. That's inflection, kind of adding some emphasis. So what is characteristic of our energizing style? They're fast talkers. Remember, time is of the essence. They're in a hurry. They're into massive action. And so they talk fast. And they tend to talk with a lot of volume because to get a lot of words out of your mouth all at once requires a lot of breath power, a lot of energy. And as a result, they tend to have fairly good volume. You will not find many people talking fast who are very soft and talking fast. Very hard to hear, right? And I promise you, when someone's talking that fast, they can't do a lot of inflection. They are not spending the time to go up and down the scale and draw words out. And so you don't get much inflection when they speak. They come across with urgency because they are urgent. Remember, it's about time. This person is pushing about the time. And that's one of the ways you can serve them best is to speed it up. The other thing you'll find out is that there's a breathlessness because that person is just so pushy and strong and forward that they have a breathless quality. When they speak, and especially when they text, and they prefer texting, by the way, that's one of the best ways to communicate with them, they use acronyms. So, for example, the hand gesture there is okay, but nowadays it's just K, folks. We don't even bother with the O. And as I said, this is the person who would prefer to text. They are not readers, so sending them an email is not a good choice. They love that beep beep when their phone goes off with the texting. And speak of an interruption with my own telephone, that's very typical of our energizing style. They interrupt because as soon as they think they know, they butt in and they shift the conversation and they move it forward because remember, time is of the essence. I started off by telling you this is a person very sensitive to time. So they are an interrupter. And that, of course, is a feature that is going to drive some of the other styles nuts. They don't like that, especially as you'll find out the stabilizing style does not like to be interrupted. So the overall tone that you're going to get from the energizer who's, when they're on the phone is what I call directive. because they are directing you, they're pushing the conversation, they're guiding it, they're making it go because they are in a hurry and they want to get things done. So if you're feeling, if you're sensing, if you're getting that they're being directive, then you're picking up the energizing person. Okay, so that's the vocal qualities. You know what? Because that was a lot of information, I am going to give you a chance to ask some questions right now. And so I will unmute everybody. And do you have any questions about just the vocal qualities that I've gone over?
Well, I have a, okay,
go ahead.
I have a comment, and that is from a customer service perspective on the phone. Sometimes I've found that my staff would get a little confused by the Energizer, thinking that they were unhappy because sometimes they sounded strident. And in fact, you see what I'm saying?
Yes, and Jeannie, I'm glad you mentioned that because that is a very common perception about the energizing person. They do come off as strident, aggressive. They come off sometimes angry, oftentimes brusque and putting people down. If their networking style is low, they can be very problematic and challenging for people to deal with because they don't care. You know, they're about me and they want it done now.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Yes.
I find it difficult when a person's tone of voice doesn't match the words.
Yeah.
So, for instance, someone could appear to be talking in sort of a laid-back way, but they can be saying things that are negative or inflammatory. So I have more difficulty. I could deal with someone that's upfront, that sounds aggressive, but that kind of person who's more passive aggressive, I have a hard time with them.
As do many of us. So I can appreciate what you're saying, Elaine. Yeah. That may be something for us to comment on a little later.
Yeah, are you going to comment on how to deal with them then?
I would like to postpone that for right now, but yes, we can go over that later.
Okay, great.
I have a quick question. Are there gender differences with regards to the energizing style?
Oh, that's a great question, Fred. And you know what's interesting is that it's equally distributed, the energizing, you know, in terms of male and female. However, in our culture, it's more acceptable for men to be energizing than for women to be energizing. And by the way, that's true with other cultures too. For example, in the Latino culture, you know, the macho male, that's a typical energizing type of person, but they don't want the woman to be like that. And her way of expressing energizing will be very different. So you were asking if there would be vocal qualities. Interestingly enough, I'd have to say no, but that's a great question, and I'm going to ponder that and maybe come back to that in another time.
Can I comment on what Fred said? Fred, were you by any chance thinking, like linking together what you said with what I said, in that if a woman didn't feel comfortable showing these qualities through her voice or her style, could she come across in a way that almost seems artificial because she's not talking fast or loud or whatever, but her words match up with an energizer? Is that possible?
Well, I'm thinking of trying to think of personality types that I've dealt with, and the woman energizer to me is very brash. And I would say brash because that's how society labels women who speak up, that kind of thing. So I don't want to come back being brash, but I want to sort of fix my voice in a way that is complementary to what she's saying.
So to give a very quick answer, that energizing person is looking for fast, quick, move forward, get it done, bottom line results. And if they feel that you're slowing down, that will be very annoying.
That's funny. It makes sense.
Okay, so I'm going to go on right now to the next part, but I'm making a note of that because it's a very interesting topic for us to talk about again, that the male-female differences. So thank you for that. So I'm going to mute you all again, and we're going to go on to the next section, which is, okay, appearance. What is it that they wear? And again, we're focusing on our energizing person. So what is this person likely to wear? They're very fashion forward. Remember that I told you they choose things that are trendy, on the cutting edge, modern. So whatever the colors are, whatever the cut is, the fabric, I mean, they're going to own it. They're not afraid of color. They like to stand out. Remember, outstanding is another important feature. So bright, bold colors and patterns. And by the way, they will also wear 100% black, but then have something else that's outstanding. So they don't mind, again, being in neon colors. You know, here I am, billboard. As I said, they will find statement pieces, both men and women. With the men, it could be a big belt buckle, or could be boots or hat, even suspenders or a bow tie. Those are very common things that men will use to make themselves outstanding and look different. And of course, women, well, there's lots of things women can do, from, you know, jewelry, accent pieces, makeup, hairstyle, that sort of thing. Both the men and the women enjoy body art. And again, they see this is an experience to have tattoos as well as to show their tattoos. So that's very characteristic of our energizing person. This is the person who likes to dress up as well as dress down, because either way gets your attention and is kind of the cool factor, because they're about being cool and exuding that, you know, like I'm above it all, like it doesn't matter. And yet it always matters. They want to get attention and be number one. Look for cufflinks. Any male you find other than at a formal affair, like a wedding, who's wearing cufflinks, monogram shirts, that is a sure sign of the energizing male. And stiletto heels is a sure sign that you found an energizing woman, especially at expos, you know, where she's walking miles. I mean, it amazes me, because obviously I can't do that, that she has the wherewithal to walk an expo. And I've heard from physicians that it's actually not the best thing for the spine and the feet, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. It looks good, and she's all about looking good. Both the men and the women have manicures, and of course, if the woman has a manicure, well, her nails are going to be standing out, right? Bright, bold colors again, or some, again, art on her nails. Makeup. Now, for her, makeup consists not only of foundation, rouge, lipstick, but also eye makeup. I mean, she would not think about leaving home without being made up. And both men and women, as you saw from the video that I've sent you, are into fancy shoes. And they usually have a closet for their shoes, because this is a person who, wants to make sure they have the right shoes for the right outfit. It would be very important. So that is kind of what they wear. And again, I'm going to pause and see if you would like to ask or questions or make any comments, and I am unmuting you all.
Nancy, is Crystal.
Yes.
So are these fancy dressers, are they more prone to purchase from us?
Yes. They love using their credit cards. They have multiple credit cards. They like making purchases. They like, them, treating themselves well. They can easily be upsold. They want only the best crystal. And so they don't want your bottom line basic package. They want the deluxe version.
Okay.
And they'll pay for it.
All right. I'm going to be looking for that at the next couple of networking events.
Amen.
Yeah.
Other comments or questions? It's interesting. There's no one on this call for whom energizing is their first style. So I guess we can pick on these people.
Oh, Lord.
Well, look, I got fancy
Yeah,
nails.
right?
I got fancy nails too, but that's not my first style.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions, comments?
Okay. So it's hard to see an energizing style person on someone's Facebook, LinkedIn profile, but not Facebook, LinkedIn. So we need to go
Yes.
to their Facebook and look for that again, like we did last week.
Oh, yes. You can tell energizing on Facebook and LinkedIn for sure.
I'm really more interested in the LinkedIn one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, circle face.
Oh, yeah. Well, if they've got no photo, that would not be the energizing type because they like to be seen. Unless they're, quote, too busy because they're in such a rush to bother with LinkedIn. But if they're on LinkedIn, they've got a photo.
Okay.
And didn't you say that they're staged?
They have a very staged, an attention-getting photo. Again, Fred, our photographer, could tell us even more about that. I'm sure you've had clients who've asked you for a photo that makes them look different and outstanding. Whether it's the background, the clothing they're wearing, their posture or pose. Crystal, you'll also find that this is the person who has a banner behind them because they don't leave any real estate untouched.
Okay.
Oh, that's cute. You know what, Nancy? If you want an example for all of us of a person like you're talking about, I have a friend who owns B&Bs on Block Island. She recently had a photograph done professionally, and you can see it on I can't talk, Facebook. And to me, it's so obviously a posed picture. It's beautiful, but it's very, you can tell, like a glamour shot almost.
Right, because they are about glamour.
Oh, absolutely. She's always dressed. She has a, what do you call that, Victorian B&B, and she dresses the part all the time. Yeah. So it's very interesting if you ever want to use that as an example.
Okay.
Then I have a question because professionally we're taught, or I was taught, to get your photo done professionally, Fred, and that wouldn't necessarily say who we are. So what do you think about that?
Oh no, there's a difference between here I am and a big smile and here I am.
Right.
And here I am and here I am.
Okay. All right.
Okay, because when I start to take a pose that is different than the norm, that's that energizing style. They want to stand out. They want to be different. And again, there's another pose, which is, would you please just get this over with?
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so there are many different poses that indicate what people's style is.
Okay.
All right, so again, I will mute us and I'm going to go on to the next section, and the next section is our behavior. What kind of behaviors can you expect? And again, this is something you're more likely to see when you're in their presence. They're multitasking. I told you that they're action people. They value action, so they are on the go and they're doing multiple things at once. So, I mean, this is the reason why, the rules in the road about texting and driving, because this is the person who really does do it all. They are in a rush. If I haven't explained the fact they have a very full schedule, they are grabbing for all the gusto, they are experiencing life to the hilt, and they are in a rush, which means that they will arrive late to most events. They grab for opportunity. They love taking risks, and often don't even ask about the rewards because they are very much, risk takers. Again, that's part of their spontaneity, enjoying life to the hilt, etc. And remember, a value of theirs is opportunity. Oh, they have fun. This is the life of the party. This is the one who jokes. This is the one who teases. This is the one who is, in a way, charismatic in terms of how they present at networking events. If you see a circle of people around somebody and they seem to be entertaining the group, that is that energizing person. Love to explore, and so they touch and feel, and they're doing everything. They're very sensual people, so they do touch. They like to experience again everything they can. They take the lead. They don't wait. They jump in. They plunge in. So again, at the end of a presentation, you'll have your learning style that wants to ask a question because, of course, they want to show how smart they are, and they're debating the speaker. But then you've got the energizing style who wants the attention of being the first. And you look at me, and I'm interacting with the celebrity who is the presenter. This is a person who focuses on results. They're very bottom line, very focused on results. Everything quick. As soon as they think they know the answer, like I say, they interrupt, they divert, they move us in another direction. But they're very results focused, very driven, again, to be number one, to compete, to get it done. So, of course, I told you they arrive late. And when they arrive late to an event, they arrive late for many reasons. One, I told you that their schedule is overscheduled, so they don't allow enough time, and so they're late. But they also arrive late because, frankly, this person doesn't like to waste time. And if an event starts at the hour and they come 5 minutes, 10 minutes after, well, things have started. They didn't have to waste time with the opening or the beginning. So they come late for that reason too. But here's another good reason for coming late. They get a lot of attention by walking in late. And this is a person who likes attention. Now, very important for you to make note of this. When they arrive late, they do not make an excuse. They don't shyly walk in the back door and sneak into a chair so they don't disrupt people. No, they bang the doors open and they come on in. Here I am, world. Okay? Oh, I just disturbed my dog. But that's how they are, because it's like, I am here. Everything starts now that I've arrived. So there's a kind of a narcissistic, quality. So for all these reasons, the person arrives late, but they arrive late without an excuse. That's what I want you to make note of, because we also have someone who arrives late, our networking person, and they will always have an excuse. And they will be very upset and apologetic about coming late. So how do they greet you? With energy, folks. Now, of course, they'll shake your hand, but they would rather high five. I know my dog is really getting, the sound effects are getting to her. They will, fist bump, etc. There's an energy in their hello. You hear it in their voice and you see it in their bodies. All right, so again, I will pause here and I will unmute you all, and you have a chance again to ask questions or make comments. My dog left the room. She couldn't tolerate it anymore.
She's not an energizer, is she?
And she actually is.
Is she?
Yeah, but she's also very networking. So it was the networking side that said, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Well, I think I saw an energizer today in a
They're all over the place, Jeannie.
Yeah. She came in very late with a big flurry, and had to try out several chairs. And then she had to run off to the ladies' room. And then she had to run back because she forgot her card. And she explained that she'd just gotten a new client while she was down there. And it was interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Dina, I have a comment. Maybe it's a question too.
Okay.
Two things. One is, as you've been talking about the Energizer, I just kept thinking narcissist before you said it. And then my reaction was, they're difficult to deal with. And my gut reaction to people that come across like they're the center of the universe, they matter more than everybody else around them, I tend to have an immediate negative feeling about it. So how do we deal with that?
Well, how you deal with your negative feelings is partly what I'm hoping you're learning through this program is that rather than feeling uptight with them is to recognize that they're just doing their thing.
Excuse me, Nancy?
Yes?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Somebody has their, I think it just went away. I was seeing somebody's computer on my computer screen, photos and all this other kind of stuff. So I don't know how that's happening.
It was due to me, Jean. Thanks for asking.
No, that's okay. It just popped on the screen. It was like an email and photos.
Yes.
Okay.
I got it.
Thanks for letting me know.
Nope, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. So to go back to the when we have when we're judging somebody else because they're not our style, because that's really what's happening, is
Right.
hoping that you're going to create more tolerance and more understanding for people who are different from you, and recognize that that's not because they're trying to disrespect you or put you down. It's who they are. It's their style. It's an expression of their self. And when like yesterday is a great example. Something happened in which that energizing person could care less about what was going on, and it was all about him. And it didn't bother me in the slightest. All I did is I kept focusing on, the fact that I knew what the style was, and consequently, I could let it go.
So that's
Okay.
That's something for a networker then.
Networkers are super sensitive to that sort of thing. That's
right.
Part of this networking style, is to be very sensitive, to how they're being treated by others, where others are not thinking about people first. Remember, in the networking, people first is their value. Our energizing person is experience first, me first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. So now that I've given some information about the energizing style, what kinds of occupations do you think that they would have?
Publicity.
Publicity. Well, yeah, they're looking for publicity. So who gets publicity? Who's being publicized?
Actors, politicians.
PR people.
Yes.
Radio personalities.
Yes.
But we have to have teachers too.
Models.
Okay, great. So let me share with you then the occupations that are typical of energizing people. And they are many of the ones you mentioned. They do gravitate to sales. Remember, this is a person about freedom. No limits, no bars, no anything. It's all about, making, so they love to make money, right? And sales gives them that opportunity through commissions, etc., to earn as much as they want. So they tend to gravitate to sales. Politicians, these are people that love to have the public adore them and, to be on TV, radio, etc., be followed, have the press, trailing them. So yes, politicians. All sorts of public speakers. Now, what's interesting about public speakers is that many public speakers, or some public speakers, have actually been, have other styles, but their second style is energizing. So they have to overcome their reluctance to be on stage, but once they do, yes, they can be quite the showman. And then entertainers of all sorts, very high in the energizing style, right? Because they
Right.
want attention. And athletes, especially the professional athlete, is somebody that would be that energizing type. Our Olympians, etc. And entrepreneurs, the person who, yeah, I laugh because I recently saw somebody with a shirt, unemployable. I mean, so they're an entrepreneur because, they couldn't work for somebody else. Again, this is a person who doesn't like authority figures, doesn't want restrictions, and so they start their own business. Okay, so I've given a lot of information. Obviously, I want to help you go from knowledge to skill, because information without application is useless. So now's the time to talk about practice. And I have some homework for you. I want you in the next week to identify a male and a female who you know well, either in your family or your immediate circle of friends or work associates, both a male and a female, because I think that this goes to what you were saying, Fred, about the difference between men and women. And I think it's important to see how that male energizing person might be a little different than the female energizing person. Second, just like you mentioned, Jeannie, today you were at a networking event. You may have seen somebody who was, came in that way. Well, I want you to start noticing people's clothing and shoes. Who is wearing bright, bold, call attention to myself type clothing and shoes? Notice that. Because and then you'll now listen, is this the person who also has a fairly loud voice, and is talking fast? Okay, so that's your homework assignment. And now I'm going to pause, stop the share, and it's time for us to have more questions and answers and to do some what I call hot seat coaching.
What was my question before that you said you'd get to later? I should have written it down.
Well, again, you were asking about the differences between, I know Fred was talking, is there a difference between the men and women? And you thought, well, is that the same as what I'm asking?
And now I can't remember what I asked.
Well, I know we have it recorded.
That's true.
That's a good thing.
I'll take a moment, try to reflect.
Oh, I know what it was. I said to you that I have a really hard time with something that doesn't seem to fit into any of the categories we've talked about. Maybe it does and I don't see it, but the person who has these characteristics of an energizer, but the way they come across, it's almost as if they're masking it by trying to appear like they're not a narcissist, they're not trying to be out there, but you hear the words and you know.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I kind of alluded to it a little bit when I was talking about primary code, primary or secondary. In our work style, there is usually one code that's dominant. And in our family or social style, there's a different code that will be dominant. And so the person may present one way, but then, like I said, when they're making a decision or you're asking them for something, they then shift into another style. So you need to be alert to the fact that that can happen. And so you're asking about masking. And masking, there's a couple of ways to answer that. One is that they shift styles. But the other is that they've learned to downplay a part of their style that they know can rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, for example, the energizing person, because this is the person we're talking about today, the energizing person is often perceived as being very narcissistic, perceived as being full of hype, and it's very annoying to the other styles. Each of the other three styles finds that disingenuous, suspicious. They want to move away from that individual. The learning style won't trust them because it feels like fluff and hype, and there's no substance. The networking style wants to believe them because they tend to be trusting and gullible in general, but they've been burned by people like that, so they're very on guard, or some of them are. And the stabilizing one is like, well, I want the social proof, and they just kind of look down their nose at this individual and just kind of, keep them at arm's length. A savvy, energizing individual who is bound for success and truly wants to succeed will recognize that this characteristic is a liability. Now, they can't stop it 100% because it is their nature, but you will feel it reined in, and like you say, maybe it comes across as being masked because this is a person who's learned how to, rein it in, pull it down, cover it up so that it's not offensive and annoying. I hope that helps. I mean, it's a kind of a sophisticated part of the likability system.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments?
Well, yes. I'm a little careful about thinking that they're necessarily narcissistic. I'm imagining that those of us who are quieter might take it that way, and that they actually might have hearts of gold and be fundraisers for, am I being clear on that?
It depends upon where that networking code is in their overall list.
Okay.
When the networking code is at the bottom, I promise you this person comes across as narcissistic.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about people. They care about themselves.
So they really are narcissistic?
So they will come across as narcissistic because they are, because it's all about me. Did I tell you it was about me? It's about me.
Nancy,
and they won't feel bad about that at all because they don't feel that that's offensive. They think each person should stand up for themselves and claim their space. So they don't see what they're doing as problematic.
Okay.
So Nancy, are you saying that, like Jeannie said, well, they might be involved in fundraisers and everything, but see, my antenna goes up and I'm thinking I would be suspicious of their motives. Are they doing it because they really care about whatever the fundraiser is? Or are they getting adulation because look at me, I'm such a charitable person?
Yeah, could be.
And it well could be, but it depends upon whether they're energizing networking or networking energizing.
I see. Yeah.
So when the energizing is first, their foremost value, they're driven by getting to number one, being the best. I mean, that's their foremost values. It may be that a secondary value is serving others, but you'll see that what becomes more important is getting the money versus, serving others. So it's, that's that. We set our priorities, and the priorities could shift. So they're hired by a company to do the fundraising, or they volunteer for an organization to do the fundraising, and because they're in their work mode, they're energizing, right? But at home, they, nice person, and they care about others.
So there's the social personality, and the home personality, and I'm sure there's overlap between the two, but interesting.
Yeah, and that's so what I want you to do initially, because obviously the likability system has complexity to it, but I want you to keep it simple and start off with being able to recognize primary code first. And in the back of your mind, understand that it could change, it could shift depending upon, the circumstance. But if you can begin to recognize how they're behaving in their primary code, you will connect with them. And that's the whole purpose of the likability system, is to have them perceive as we're alike, hence their guard drops and they feel comfortable relating with you.
So Nancy, a practical question then for me, since what I'm offering as a service is Reiki, which is very gentle, and the energy is gentle. The whole idea is relaxation and open to shifting energy that isn't, what's the right word, doesn't help. From what I'm hearing, an energizer hearing me trying to sell them Reiki, I can't imagine why or how they would ever want it.
No, they'd have to be in another mode.
But couldn't they want it for someone they know? And then you're putting them in the connector role, which would make them very important.
Oh, excellent.
Oh,
So sell it as a gift.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, now that everybody seems to be on the line, I think this would be a good opportunity to ask you each to introduce yourselves. I know I did that last week, but we have some new people and I want to give them a chance to introduce themselves as well. And so I am going to start with, if you don't mind, Jeannie, you were, Jean A., you were the first person on the call. Are you able to share with us who you are and what you do?
Sure. I am Jean Anastas of Clark & Frost Insurance Agency. I am the owner of the agency, and I help clients with their personal auto, home, insurance needs in the Metro West area.
Great. Metro West of Massachusetts, right?
Massachusetts, yes, sorry.
The reason I say that is we have Fred, as you'll find out, is in the Detroit area, so he's far away.
Well, that would be Metro West for him, right?
That's very far Metro West.
Oh.
All right, thank you. And I think, let's see, who was next on the call? I think.
Not me.
I think it was the other Jeannie. Well, we'll do with the other Jeannie anyway.
I don't see. Oh, there's another person.
Oh, me then?
Yeah, we'll do you then. Is that okay, Jeannie?
Sure.
Jeannie N.
I mean, sure, it's all about me. Okay, I'm self-employed as a personal development consultant, and I'm also working with a networking marketing company. And I'm in North Central Connecticut, just south of Springfield, Mass.
So very far Metro West.
Yeah.
All right, great. And Crystal, tell us who you are. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Nancy. I am Crystal Sauls, and I work with Sauls International, and we provide language services to include translation, interpretation, and sign language services, and we do some consulting and cultural awareness as well.
And you're in what area?
Richmond, Virginia.
So again, we have someone outside of Boston.
Yeah.
So again, keep in mind, anyone here on the call, that if you are in need of translation services, right, Crystal, you can help anywhere.
Yeah, we provide services here in the U.S. and overseas, and our main clients are mainly of government and state government, but we help corporations and individuals, large and small projects. So, yep.
That's great. All right, good. Elaine.
Yes, I'm Elaine Weber, and I'm actually a nurse, but I'm retired from full-time nursing, and I'm a Reiki practitioner and also certified as a hypnotist for things like weight loss, smoking cessation, that sort of thing. So I'm setting up my own Reiki practice, and in order to pay the bills, I do per diem school nursing, and right now I'm working one-on-one with a disabled child to go to school with. So I'm enjoying all this. I'm not making much money with Reiki, but it's gradual.
All right,
And
great.
I'm in Connecticut also, Jeannie,
Oh,
but
yeah?
I'm in the southern part of Connecticut, just south of Hartford in Wethersfield.
Oh, Wethersfield. Well,
Yeah.
I was in Farmington this morning.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah.
name of your town?
I'm in Enfield.
Oh, Enfield. That's not too far.
Yeah.
Good. And Fred is also a telephone voice. And Fred, I know, has a sore throat, but can you share very quickly, Fred, what you do?
Yes, I'm a photographer, professional photographer. We specialize in corporate, but we also do families and dogs and cats and high school seniors. So I have a little connection to some of the members of the group. I was born and raised in Boston, and actually got my degrees from Boston University and Tufts University. And also, one of my labs is in Richmond, Virginia. So if you ever need photo services and you want your photos to look really professionally done, Richmond Photo Lab in Virginia does a great job. And Connecticut was my pass-through from Boston to New York. When we wanted to go partying, we would, go. We have to get through Connecticut. So I know a little bit about Connecticut. I hitchhiked through Connecticut a couple of times, as a matter of fact. So, yeah.
All right, great. And Sheila is in Newburyport, or no, Marblehead.
Marblehead.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am in network marketing, a wonderful health product, and I also work at the Salem Witch Museum. So I got to see the general public.
And Sheila, you're so Sheila, do you want to mention your last name too?
My last name is Cranberry with a hyphen. 2 family names I put together when I got divorced and I didn't want to go back to my maiden name, but I wanted a new name that was not my former husband's.
I love it, Cranberry. So fantastic. So welcome, because this is your first time on our call. So the doctor is in, and I don't know if you have any prospects or clients you'd like for me to advise you, but that's what we do in the last part of our call. And by the way, I know Fred has submitted some promotional material, which I said we would get to either next week or the week after, and I will share it with all of you so that we can help him with his promotional material.
And where is Fred?
Fred is
Detroit.
located, go ahead.
Yeah, in Detroit, Michigan, the Michigan market, actually.
Oh.
So it'd be a little hard for him to take photographs of us.
Yeah.
Richmond, I need his information.
Okay, so Fred, there in the chat box, Crystal would love for you to give some information about yourself, if you would.
I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone, though.
Oh, on the phone. So would it be okay, Fred, if I shared your information with Crystal, who's asking?
Oh, please do.
Okay, I'll
Sure.
send an email, Crystal.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nancy, how do we use the chat box? I don't see anything.
At the bottom of your screen, there's a little bubble with 3 dots in it, and it says chat. If you click on that, it opens the chat box.
Yeah, I don't have that, but I'm on an iPad. Maybe that makes a difference.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to advise.
You just press it underneath the telephones. If you just put your finger there, well, I have a touch screen.
Yeah,
It will open it.
There's no symbol of the telephone.
No, but you have to press it, put your cursor under the phones.
What phone?
You see 2 phones on the screen?
No. No, that's only there when I first start. There's nothing now.
So do you
All
have
right,
something
all
called
right.
for?
I don't want to waste people's time. Never mind.
Okay.
Thanks anyway, Jeannie.
All right. So does anyone have a prospect or a situation client you'd like to bring forward? I know last time we had several really good ones, and it was that really made the call. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I told you that Mary got in touch with me to come for Reiki and said in the text that she wanted to make an appointment and would call me next week, which was last week. So I have not heard from her, and I wonder, do you recommend me texting her again and just saying, "Hi, Mary, I was so happy to hear from you last week, and I'm wondering, are you having any trouble getting in touch with me to make an appointment?" What do you think?
I would say I was happy to hear from you, and I'm hoping that you're in good health because
Oh,
her
right,
health,
right,
I would not ask for the appointment. I continue to ask about her health.
right, because she might be having another, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because this is a woman with health issues, but we also figured out she's a networking person, and the networking person, if they feel that you're trying to sell them, will get cold feet.
Yeah, she really responds to me looking out for her.
That's exactly it. She wants your friendship. Mhm.
Right. Okay.
And Jeannie, true confessions. Remember last week you brought up that you were a fast decision maker, and then you sent me an email.
Yes.
Would you like to share with the group?
Sure. You know, last week I swore to Nancy that I had made my decision very quickly, forgetting that Eric and I had been on the phone talking for 7 months. But when we finally met, and then I felt I decided very quickly. But in fact, Nancy pointed out, and by the way, I'm not just taking the fact that you said it, Nancy, but the way it resonated for me was that I hadn't bought into the network marketing. I had bought into Eric. I had that level of trust about him. And when I went into it a little further, I would like to please people by buying, and don't you any of you try to sell me anything, because being, I think, a networker, I'm going to want to buy it.
Well, how about some Reiki?
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
guys
yes, yes.
you don't live far from each other either.
And I could give you a bunch of my cards.
Oh, yes, and we'll be friends.
Right. Right.
All right. So do people have some situations to bring up? Because I'd love for you to pick my brain here.
May I ask a question, Nancy?
Please.
I think I told you that I was going to have an event with somebody that I know through the Friday morning group where you spoke. And then a gal in my town who is a chiropractor just put out that she's having an event the same night, inviting all entrepreneurs. How do I deal with that? I replied to her and said, I'd love to come, but I don't think I can. Could I give you cards and information? But should I try and rearrange the appointment that I'd set with the other person?
Is it overlapping times?
Same time.
So it's overlapping.
One's Beverly, one's Marblehead.
Okay. So yeah, you can't be in two places at the same time. Where do you think your better prospects, your better opportunity would come from?
I'm really not sure.
So do you want to maybe look up both people and figure out what that is? So with your permission, I'm going to share my screen. And Sheila, I'm going to ask you for the names of the two people, and we're going to look them up on the internet.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what their styles are so we know how to deal with them.
Okay.
And I'm going now to my internet, and I'm going to LinkedIn. Okay, what's the first name, like the chiropractor or the...
Devorah, Devorah. Feinblum.
Oh, here she is. I saw her right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so,
Right.
and so, I don't remember who was asking how we can tell what people's styles are, but notice that she had this basic blue background. She didn't do anything with it. She's got a big smile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does not feel phony or pasted on. It looks
No.
to me like it's a genuine smile coming from inside her.
Mm-hmm.
Even her eyes look like there's a smile. And Fred, you're the photographer, so if I'm making any mistakes here, you pipe up and you correct me, okay? Keep me honest.
Okay.
All right. I also noticed lots of lipstick, and I noticed some dangling earrings. I'm
Mhm.
noticing that she does not, this is not a studio portrait. This has been taken candid somewhere. I don't know where. The reason I'm taking time to tell you about her photograph is because that's how I am identifying her style. The big, wide smile is a sign of the networking style.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Okay.
The the red lipstick, the dangle earrings are more energizing. So let's see what, and the outdoor, the fact that she took it outdoors or indoors or candidly is also networking. So she gives her name here. Then she says, creating strategies to help recognize and release the sources of stress. Well, the word creating is coming from the energizing style. The word strategies is coming from the learning style.
Yeah.
To help is, of course, a networking word. Recognize,
Learning.
yeah, learning, but not a strong one. Release the sources of stress. Okay, so it's kind of a mixture what she's written there. So let me see if there's underneath. Let's see if I can get any more. She has 442 connections, a lot, but not that much. And now I'm going to read what she wrote. Voted best female chiropractor in Boston by Self Magazine. She is passionate about getting to the root cause of pain, suffering, and lack of energy. Now notice that the first thing she tells us is she was voted the best. Well, that's a very energizing statement, but at the same time, it's also a stabilizing thing, because stabilizing people want social proof. They want outside validation that something's good. So she's giving us outside validation, but she's also telling us that energetically she's the best. And then she's passionate. Passionate is a word that, again, can be very much energizing because it's full of energy. But networking people can also be very passionate. So she's passionate about getting to the root cause of pain, suffering, and lack of energy. That's sounding again like more like the learning style. As a kinesiologist, she's able to discern physical, chemical, nutritional, mental, and emotional obstacles in the mind, body, and help clear the roadblocks so that the deepest truth with a capital T can shine forth, creating inner peace and contentment and great energy for living. Now that's quite a long sentence, but it's definitely trying to let us know that she's a strong person. So that's, the learning is coming forward very strongly. And the deepest truth, that is very much a learning style. And then she says, and she's writing in paragraphs. Notice she's writing in paragraph and she's giving us a lot of information. That's a very networking thing to do. The networking person wants to be understood and they want you to understand them, and they give a lot of words and they're chatty. And she's being fairly chatty.
That's true.
The tools in her toolbox include spinal adjustments, blah, 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 blah. So she's really letting you know that she's well educated and credentialed, which again is coming from that learning style that I want to be the expert. And then she's the creator of a national program called the National Reboot Camp, a mind-body cleanse that works with diet, supplements, education, classes to detoxify the body. She's also the creator of, so she's letting us know how smart she is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be learner?
And that's the learner.
Does that also speak to the stabilizing personality that wants to know that there will be results, practical results, or is that the learning?
The stabilizing personality wants to know that other people have had positive results and that she's a member of the Better Business Bureau and that she's been in business for centuries. That's the stabilizing wants that tradition. The learning style wants expertise. They want a problem solver.
So that would appeal to the learning style.
Yes. Okay. She's writing from a learning style, but she's writing very networking because she's all about connecting with people.
Could she have taken a course to learn some of this stuff, so she's trying to appeal to all different styles? Or is she not doing that seamlessly enough to be the case?
I don't think that's what's coming across. I don't sense that.
Okay.
I sense that she is, I could be wrong, but I suspect there's a little gushiness to her, and that, again, she's a smart person. Now, Sheila, you know her well. I said?
Not very well. I've taken one of her courses a few years ago.
Okay. And she gave courses. So again, that sounds like she's a teaching type, which is the learning style. Okay, so now I'm going to see what she wrote as her experience since 1983 to the present, 34 years to 7 months. Wow, this woman's done this a long time. And all in capital letters, if your body could talk, what would it say about your health? As a chiropractor nutritionist for the last 26 years, I've developed the skills of accurate listening to determine what your body needs in order to heal, strengthen, and give you the kind of energy and clarity that allow you to be focused and by the way, she missed the S in focus. And productive in your daily life. Now, the fact that she missed the S tells me that her stabilizing style is her bottom style. Stabilizing people are perfectionists. Everything is perfect. I's are dotted, T's are crossed. You know, they speak in complete paragraphs, etc. So they would never have a mistake like this. And I use a kind of communication called apply to key, and with this I uncover blah, 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 blah. Okay, so she's presenting herself again as an expert. Her skills, her endorsements, her recommendations. She's received 4, given 2. And then her interests, and that's it. So we don't see, very, very typically, when somebody's high in networking, you'll see volunteer experience. There isn't any here.
Wow.
And so while she may be socially a networking type, when she's in her chiropractic role, she is the learning style.
Could you say that again?
While socially, which is this picture that was taken informally that she put up on LinkedIn, that was probably taken when she was at a social event. So her social style is networking, where she, can be very personable and chatty and, very interested in people, etc. But when she's in her doctor chiropractic mode or work mode, she's the learning style. Okay, so I'm also going to try to find her on Facebook. She may or may not be there, but we'll look. Looks like she is.
She is, yeah.
And look at this picture of her. Wow. Now, see, this is she's becoming the energizing again.
She does a lot with art, and she posts
this picture. This is a picture that is both that wide, warm networking thing, but she's got her finger next to her face, calling attention to herself.
Oh, interesting.
This is not, this is the energizing. So she knows that she's smart enough to know that as a businesswoman, she wants to get attention.
So why didn't she have this photo on LinkedIn?
I don't know.
No, she probably took that a long time ago on LinkedIn.
That's possible. I was thinking the same. She doesn't update or care about her LinkedIn. But then notice the banner behind her. Be the reason someone smiles today. That is so common for networking people to have motivational quotes. That is a very typical thing for networking people. So she's very strong networking, but when she's playing doctor, you better make sure she's serious, because she is. I'm going to go to other photos to see what she posts. And
Nancy?
yeah,
Yeah,
Fred?
just as a side note, when I'm doing portraits, I often ask the individual man or woman, do they feel comfortable putting their hand or fingers or somehow close to the face? Because that does give you a different look. And it's interesting. Most of the people that I have photographed will tell me, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So that would be perhaps an indication that they're not, their primary dominant style is not an energizer.
Very good. And because they don't want to show off, they don't want that attention, they don't want to stand out. Whereas the energizing person, they would eat it up.
So could we do that, one of those poses that Fred is talking about?
Of course.
Yeah, what would that look like?
Well, this one
Just
right
like
here.
that? But not the, say, the fist under the chin, not like that, right?
Well, there are other ways, right?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you need a professional photographer to guide you.
But Fred lives so far away, he'll have to move.
So I'm looking at other profile pictures she's put up. It looks like the earthy granola type, right? Which is networking.
Yeah.
Okay, and more earthy. But notice there's a lot of makeup. The amount of makeup is very energizing.
Huh.
Okay, interesting. She put that as a profile picture, which is not her.
But she likes it.
Okay, so then I guess that's it for profile pictures. So again, you can see by looking at her pictures here, she's got people. So obviously that's very much the networking. They are with people.
And she's also an artist.
Okay, and so we're seeing some of her art. Yeah. And that art is definitely the energizing style.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. The colors.
So her top 3 styles are networking, energizing, and learning. And my guess is that when she's in her doctor mode, you're getting the learning style. And the rest of the time, you're getting the networking and energizing style.
Nancy, that third picture over from the left with the group in the purple, and that looks like a group that is in some type of a show. Is she in that picture?
No, and you're right. This is some kind of
Star Wars or something.
It's Star Trek.
It's a happy birthday picture from these people to her.
Well, it's the cast of Star Trek.
Okay.
Oh.
So this is her artwork, which is fascinating, but
beautiful.
I won't go into it as a psychologist, right? Look at the word free, which again is the energizing style. I want to be free.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So her artistic mode is definitely, free. My guess is she'd be a hoot at a party.
Yeah.
She'd be a lot of fun, but she'd also be outspoken and boisterous, and she'd be opinionated.
Okay.
So let's look at the other person, because you're trying to make a decision, Sheila, which person to say yes to. So the next person's name is?
Jackie Moldou, Moldou. Yeah, Jackie's Tees. She was at the...
right, so I don't see her here in LinkedIn. Did I spell it right? Mould?
I think, isn't that what came up?
No, she had MOL.
Spell her last name again.
I thought it was... It's
Moldau.
There she was. Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So again, she didn't use this space over here. Notice that she's got the cock in the head too, which is calling attention. It's not just facing, the camera. So, and again, it looks like she's taken her picture candidly somewhere from whatever she was doing. It looks like a smile, but it looks like a posed smile. Am I right, Fred, that you would say this is more of a posed smile?
Well, I can try looking at the replay, but right now I'm on the phone.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Fred has to keep telling us that.
All right. I forgot. So I feel like this woman has been asked to smile and she's smiling, as opposed to the smiles coming from inside her as a true expression of who she is.
Okay.
I agree. I
agree?
see the same thing.
Okay. So, and that tells me that is coming from the stabilizing. I know I'm supposed to smile and I'm being a good girl. Okay, so let's see. She's got over 500 connections, so she's obviously a person with a lot of connections. And here's the first thing she said: experienced chief executive officer, and all of that is very stabilizing language, with a demonstrated history, more stabilizing language, of working, stabilizing in the printing industry. Skilled in print management. Management is, of course, stabilizing word, logo design, advertising, sales, and digital printing. Strong entrepreneurship professional with an interior design certificate focused in interior design from Interior Design Institute. Lots and lots and lots of stabilizing language here. The only exception being the word entrepreneurship was kind of thrown in the mix.
Yeah.
Then there's she showcased some of the things that she's doing. And then her experience. She's owner of this. She gives the 10 years, 11 months. And she doesn't give any more information. It's just pictures, which is fine.
Development manager.
Business development manager was her previous position. So again, the manager piece.
And look how manager is
abbreviated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Or
usually a stabilizing person wouldn't do that. So, but maybe she only had so many characters. I don't know what the rules are in LinkedIn.
No, she wouldn't have been held to that few, because if you look at the others.
When you do abbreviations like that, of course, that's the energizing part. Because they're bullet points, they're quick, they're succinct, etc. So my sense is that she's probably stabilizing first, energizing second. And as I continue to scroll down here, I mean, she's listing all her credentials. She's received one recommendation and she is recommended once. And she has some interests, and that's it. So I'm going to also go and find her on Facebook. Let's see, her first name
is.
There she is.
Mold.
AU.
Yeah.
Okay, here she is. Okay, so now, if we didn't see her before, we wouldn't know which one was Jackie.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, do you notice that this is a very coquettish, calling attention to myself picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And it looks like she's got makeup on her eyes as well as the rest of her face. Her background, of course, is promotional, which is so she's very entrepreneur in terms of that. Let's see what other banners. And then she's got something else that looks whatever, more motivational. Let's see what other photos she has posted, if any.
Photos.
Oh, lots of people. Lots of people.
Networking with lots of people?
Well, it depends upon whether she's taking pictures with celebrities. Because that would be a very energizing thing to do. So none of these people are tagged, so I don't know. But it's Greater Beverly Chamber of Commerce, so that's why she's with all these people. So yeah, in that sense, that's more of a
Ribbon
the
cutting.
energizing style. And here's
Yeah.
more Greater Beverly chamber. This is some kind of maroon gals. Don't know what that means. Could be something to do with kids. So this is, of course, her shop. Okay, so this is looking very enterprising, right? Energizing in terms of her being at a fair, even the star behind her, like, you know, I'm special. So here's my suggestion, Sheila, now having looked at both women, Jackie is the one who needs the most structure and would be offended when you break the rules. So
Okay.
you need to talk to her about, is this fixed in stone, or can we reschedule it comfortably? And whatever she says, you need to go by the guideline, otherwise you're going to offend her.
Okay.
The other woman, you won't offend.
Yeah. Okay.
So the other woman is
Thank
more
you.
sturdy. The energizer person would
This-
tend to be more sturdy.
The stabilizing person, which is the first code of Jackie, at least as a business woman, that would be offended when you break the rules and you don't. So, for example, Sheila and Jackie made a choice to have a date that apparently is overlapping with Dr.
Feinblum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Devora.
And so, so Sheila is now caught with which event am I going to do? And I'm saying that Jackie would be
Oh, I
more
see.
offended if you canceled on her. But
Right.
so you need to bring it up and discuss it as a, you know, like, how much preparation have you gone to? Can we push it back a week? You know, will that put you out?
Also, she said she might have somebody do makeup in the next hour after me, and maybe we could reverse it. I could ask her about that.
Okay. Well, but make sure, because this woman is a planner and there's
Okay.
structure going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you break that structure, she's going to feel offended.
Yeah. No, I don't want to do that.
That's,
Okay. Thank you very much.
That's
This is
why I'm
very
advising.
helpful.
Sure. All right. Well, we're reaching our 5 o'clock hour. So let me ask you folks, what are some of the takeaways from our session today?
I guess I need to know, I didn't realize that we were having it at exactly what time. I thought I was going to hear from you. So I'm sorry I was late.
I take responsibility. I suddenly said, oh, she's not on the call, which is why Jean on the phone said, oh, I saw your computer, and that was because I was inviting you. So I made the mistake, Sheila. I apologize.
Well, I have to
It
apologize.
was recorded, and you will get the replay.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
Nancy, I'm going to have to apologize too, because I was 6 minutes late, simply because I'm overbooked, and if I hadn't eaten something, I was going to faint. So,
Networker.
sorry. Absolutely, I know.
I learned that I'm going to look for the energizers at every event, because there's always a group of them scattered out.
They are there, and you can recognize them. They stand out, Crystal. Even if they choose to wear all black, I promise you there is a piece of jewelry or eyeglasses or frames or something that sets them apart, because this person wants you to notice them.
Is that true for men too?
Yes, that's why I'm saying even if it's eyeglasses or the cufflinks or a bow tie, there's something about, he will get your attention.
Good, thank you.
Any other comments?
My head is swimming. I can't wait for the replay, because I have so much information now. I'm just confused.
Did I go too fast?
You couldn't have gone slow enough for me today. I think isn't it a ton of information?
Yeah.
Or am I the only one? Yeah, it's a lot.
It's more of observation, and then you can kind of apply as you are networking and growing your business, because she gives us a lot of visuals. So when you're on people's LinkedIn profiles and Facebook profiles, you've got 2 weeks worth of information to look at on your own, and it's going to come back. So that
And,
way you're not as stressed out.
and you're right, if they would just hold still, which they will on Facebook and LinkedIn,
Yeah.
then I can look. That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look for the fancy shoes, okay?
Yep.
Those are a giveaway. Any woman wearing fancy shoes, and the men as well. The men also have closets for their shoes too, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
And the other thing is again, if you, Crystal, especially since you would like to connect with more energizing people, then you need to also consider how you dress, because you want to dress so that they say, wow, you're cool.
Okay, but energizing too. I should dress like I'm energized.
You want to wear a statement piece.
Okay.
It doesn't mean your whole outfit should be energizing, but something that, again, is different and stands out.
So you remember that scarf I had on, that turquoise looking?
I think I do.
I've been getting a lot of compliments on that scarf everywhere, and I don't wear it to match anything. It doesn't match, but it's comfortable and soft. So I think
That's the networking in you.
Yeah, that's one piece that sticks out. Everyone loves the color.
Well, and remember, color is something that energizing uses. They're not afraid of color.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Like, how about the telephone people? We'll give you a chance.
Nancy, I think that it's great. It's very, it gives me a different perspective I work with several different people. Most of them are on the phone, but when I do finally get to meet them, it gives me a different perspective of having not really been networking per se in different groups, on what to look for in like you said, the person who, just wants to hurry up and get it done versus the person that needs you to hold their hand, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, and Jean, one of the things you should think about as an insurance agent, especially the energizing people, is that you may want to ask them questions about making sure that their property is guarded with insurance, because these people may have jewelry or possessions that, in excess that need to be individually insured.
Yep. Yeah, we do find that quite a bit.
Yeah, so that I'm making, just make sure you don't overlook that question with the energizing person. The other styles may not be as crucial as with this person.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, I would offer that most of us are interested in SEO, and therefore words do mean something when they search. And if you are at the top of the list, you want them to stay on your site. So this particular session has given me pause in terms of what kind of words I'm using that would lead then to a real a referral. Because on my website, you can actually sign up for a photo session.
Well, and I think you asked that question, so we're going to be answering that in another session. I want to get enough of the styles so that when we answer it, Fred, that we're coming from some data.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure. Well, folks, it's now 5 o'clock, just a few minutes after, so I'm going to end our call. Remember, you do have homework, which is to use your eyes and ears. Think of again 2 people that you know who are male and female to represent this style, and use them later as a measuring stick when you meet new people. And also, this coming week, I'm looking forward to hearing you tell me, yes, I spotted them, almost like we're bird watchers, okay? And we spotted the energizing person, in the crowd. So, okay. So have yourself a good week, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Nancy.
you, Nancy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nancy.
Bye.
Bye.